Frederick Douglass, American. This is Ron. It is Sunday, December the 3rd. Welcome to Story Time. And I am again reading from Imprimis, the July-August 2017 issue, which is a publication of Hillsdale College. And this particular issue is divided up into 3 articles. And yesterday I read A Time to Scatter Stones and A Time to Gather Stones Together. And today, Frederick Douglass, American. It's by Lucas E. Morrill, professor of politics at Washington and Lee University. And the following excerpt is adapted from a speech delivered at Hillsdale College on May 12, 2017, at the dedication of a statue of Frederick Douglass on the college's Liberty Walk. Frederick Douglass, a former slave and a leading abolitionist writer and orator, was the most photographed American of the 19th century. And as you at Hillsdale College know, one of the most famous photographs of Douglass was taken in this town just a few weeks after President Lincoln issued his Emancipation Proclamation. At the invitation of a ladies' literary society, Douglass came to Hillsdale and spoke in the college chapel on January 21, 1863. The title of his lecture was Popular Error and Unpopular Truth. As reported in the newspaper, Douglass said, "There was no such thing as new truth. Error might be old or new, but truth was as old as the universe. A popular error of our own day is the idea that because Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, nothing good could come from him." Douglass surely knew that Jefferson owned slaves, but he knew as well that Jefferson was the author of the Declaration of Independence, which supplied for Douglass and for all Americans the key to political progress, the principles that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator, not by government, with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Douglass called these saving principles, and he devoted himself to convincing white Americans to trust these principles' operation. In this, he foreshadowed Justice John Marshall Harlan's lone dissent against the Supreme Court's infamous Plessy v. Ferguson decision, which produced the nefarious doctrine of separate but equal. Harlan wrote, "Our Constitution is colorblind and neither knows nor tolerates classes among citizens. In respect to civil rights, all citizens are equal before the law." 30 years before Plessy, Douglass observed that the Constitution knows no distinction between citizen on account of color. "The burden of our demand upon the American people shall simply be justice and fair play," he said. "We utterly repudiate all invidious distinctions, whether in our favor or against us, and only ask for a fair field and no favor." Douglass was no fan of race pride, counting it a posture of evil and a false foundation. For the better part of American history, black Americans wanted nothing to do with a color line that set them apart from other Americans. "It has long been the desire of our enemies," Douglass wrote, "to deepen and widen the line of separation between white and colored people of this country." For Douglass, the only relevant minority in America was the minority of one, the individual. The government of all should be partial to none. The politics of identity make the present a prisoner of the past, with individuals viewed chiefly through the lens of race or other arbitrary characteristics. Douglass argued for identifying with America, with the nation founded on human brotherhood and the self-evident truths of liberty and equality. He saw that the protection of specific groups or classes would lead government away from protecting individual rights and towards assigning benefits and burdens. "I know of no rights of race," he said, "superior to the rights of humanity." A few months after Lincoln's assassination, Douglass remarked that the American people saw in Lincoln a full-length portrait of themselves. In him they saw their better qualities represented, incarnated, and glorified, and as such they loved him. In future days, may those who look upon this statue see in Frederick Douglass a full-length portrait of themselves and be reminded what it is to be an American. And that was Frederick Douglass, American, by Lucas E. Morrill, professor of politics, Washington and Lee University. And it was excerpted again from a speech delivered at Hillsdale College on May 12, 2017. And it is the second article in the the July and August issue of Imprimis magazine, which is a publication of Hillsdale College. So on Tuesday, I'm going to be reading the article "You Are Not Generation Z" by Patrick L. Sajak, host Wheel of Fortune and Vice Chairman, Hillsdale College Board of Trustees. And that will be coming up on Tuesday, the 5th of December. So until then, thank you very much for joining me, and have a great weekend.